and welcome to Learning Music with Pat. Now today I'm going to show you a fife, and this one is made out of a material that might be familiar to you. This is made out of water pipe. This is just plain water pipe. And how I got it is unusual, I guess. I had a man come to me and say, I'd like to see your instruments. I know that you have a lot of instruments, and he was a musician and he loved instruments. So I invited him into my home, and I had a lot of my instruments spread out. And as a gift, he says, for people who allow me to come in and see their instruments and talk with me and spend time with me, I always make them a little gift. And this is my gift to you. He says, it's a flute, and it's made out of water pipe. It's something that he did himself, and it does work. Very hard to play, but the thing that makes it the fife is you can see a perfectly round hole for the mouthpiece. No tone holes in the back. It's just a plain water pipe. That's all it is. And I love it, and I'm glad he did it for me. Very hard to play, but you play it by blowing across it. He has it blocked in the inside so the air can only go in one direction, as all of these instruments that you blow across the mouthpiece have to have. And there it is. He said the advantage, Pat, is you can take it to the beach. If you want to go to the beach, it doesn't mind sand. You know, you can sit on it. You do whatever you want. If you get sand in it, it doesn't matter. All you have to do is take and put it under a faucet and wash it out. That's all you have to do. It's a water pipe. So he makes these things, and I know a number of people have them because he gives them away as gifts. But it's kind of unique because I don't know of many people that have a flute made out of water pipe. I may be one of the few. So I decided just to bring it in and show it to you. I've had it in before. It's really a nice little instrument, looks nice, and all it is a piece of pipe. So you'd be surprised what you can do. I had a friend of mine who was a pastor who said to me, I bet that you could play out of a straw. And he was telling he was standing at the pulpit and talking to a congregation, joking with me. I was going to go up and play a solo on an unusual instrument. And he says, she could play a straw. And I said, yeah, probably I could if it was cut in the right places. I've never tried it. But, you know, some of my instruments, there's one that isn't much more than a straw, and I can play that. So this other instrument I want to show you is a slide whistle. They're not uncommon. Let me tip it over to the side. It has a mouthpiece that you blow into so you don't have to have a block of any kind. This would be a little labium right here. I don't know if I can tilt it so you can see its reflection. There it is. You can see the labium right here. You blow in this. Let me show the mouthpiece. I'll twist it this way. It's a little bigger than some of my ocarina mouthpieces, but it's a mouthpiece. It works on the same way as a fiddle, but you have a slide on the bottom. You see how far that slide extends. And remember, the longer the tube, the lower the note. So this is an older one. It doesn't work as good as the others do, some of the other earlier ones do, or more modern ones do. But let me try it. Now, all of those sounds that you hear could be part of a scale. So you could go. This is the lowest note. Now, when it gets up this high, it still has this much to go. But up above that, it doesn't do too well. For some reason, it seems to get stuck. I'll try it, but you're not going to get much notes out of it. When I get it to the top, it doesn't whistle too well. You have to get it down below a certain point. I don't know if something got into it, but as I said, it's old and it doesn't work quite as well as it used to. Now, that was Hallelujah, a form of Hallelujah. But you can take it. It gets stuck, and there's no way I can get in the inside of it. What I'm planning to do is just go over this whole thing with alcohol. I didn't have a chance to do it this morning, but it was sliding back and forth pretty well. This is a nice one. They have really nice ones, and they have the cheaper ones that you can get about 3 notes, and they're more like party favors than anything else. But I want you to see it, because if you know how to do it and you do it right, you actually can play songs on it. You just start at the right note and you judge where the next notes are. You can do chromatic scales, you can do diatonic scales, you can pretty much do a lot. I could sit in an orchestra and I could play melodies in the orchestra. Now, I wouldn't be able to do anything fancy with it, but if my hands were good enough and I could judge quick enough, I could play a lot of music with this. So this is a slide whistle, and it was very nice. It is a very nice one. This one just happens to be old. There's a certain company that I bought it from. Okay, so now what I want to do, we've talked last time about 16th notes, 8th notes, quarter notes, and so forth. So I wrote this song, and you notice that I wrote it with red ink. But the reason I wrote it in red ink is the fact that where the 16th notes have 2 lines, the 8th notes have 1 line. And when you're writing music, with black ink on the black background of the staff paper, it might be kind of hard to see. It might be kind of hard to see the 2 lines for the 16th as opposed to the 1 line for the flag for the 8th. So I just want to review with you whole notes, usually 4 beats. That there's always an exception to the rule. Half notes, usually 2 beats. Quarter notes, 1 beat. The quarter note, when it's split, becomes 8th notes. The 8th notes, when they're split, become 16ths, if you remember anything that I did of the last segment. So let me play this. This is a song that I made up 2 or 3 days ago, and I'm not going to play it very fast. When you get to play it faster and faster, when you get to practice it, you can play it faster and faster. But this is how it goes. And that's the whole song. But let me show you the timing of it, because this is what I'm trying to teach you. I'm trying to teach you the differences between the timing of the notes. We start off 4/4 time. And this is the treble clef, so you know you're playing in a treble clef instrument. And it starts off with 16th notes, 4 16th notes. Now remember, 4 16ths for 1 beat. So this is going to be 1 beat, this is going to be the 2nd beat, this is going to be the 3rd beat, and this quarter note is going to be the 4th beat, because a quarter note gets 1 beat. So 1 it is a 2 and 3 and 4. And it goes on, 1 it is a 2 and 3, 4, because that half note is 2 beats. And then it continues, 1 beat, 1 beat, 1 beat, and the 4th beat right there. So whatever you do when you write out a piece of music, if it's 4/4 time, you can break down the notes into different types of notes, but always it has to be so that it matches that 4 beats to a measure. Here's 1, this is a 8th note. These 3 are 8th notes, 1 and 2 and. Here's your 4 notes, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then that 1 beat at the end, which brings up the 4th note. So it's 4 beats. 1 and 2, just remember, 1 beat, 2 beat, 3 beat, 4. 1 and 2 and 3. Now what I did this was I added triplets. I did that at the last minute, because next time I'm going to go into triplets and dotted 8ths and 16ths. And the triplets are 3 notes, but they're 1 beat. So if I'm counting 1, 2, 3, 4. And let me play, I'll count in my mind. I can't count aloud when I'm playing. 1, 2, 3, 4. But I'm going to play 3 notes. What I did was I played 4 sets of triplets. They're called triplets. They're 3 notes, but you play them to 1 beat. 1, 2. So you have a little bit of difference in timing. Now, always when you do that, they write them always as 1/8 notes, and then they put a 3 on the top, or sometimes on the bottom, and many times, but not always, they put a hold on them. So the hold could be on the bottom. I didn't have room to put it on the top, but usually if your music is spaced well enough, you get the triplets, and they're all 1/8 notes. You have a 3 on top of them, and sometimes a hold that goes over the top of them or underneath them, and that tells you what it is. So you have a song here. It's not that hard a song. I just made it up in my head, and it's just 16ths, 1/8ths, a quarter, 16th, 1/8ths, a half, 16th, 1/8ths, a quarter. These are 1/8 notes. The 16ths are right here. Remember, with the 16th notes, there are 4 to a beat, or if you were doing 3/4 time, it might be 3 to a beat. But at any rate, 4 to a beat is the general rule, and with 2 flags on them. You have the body of the note. Let's see, let's take it right here. You have the body of the note, the stem of the note, and there's 2 flags. 2 flags make them 16ths, and there's, generally speaking, 4 to a beat. So that's all it is. And if I were to write most of my music, you could break it down and write it differently. You could put these as all 1/8ths, and then these would be all quarters, and this would be a half if you wanted to do it that way. And it would be easy kind of for you to read it, but I want to get you to be playing more instruments, more different notes of different timing. So I'm going to play this again. Now, when you start practicing, you would want to practice it slow. There's nothing unusual in terms of the notes. I haven't added a lot of notes that are unusual. You do have that high D. From that, let's take that D, low D to high D, the way that you play it. Remember, this is a D. Now, what I might want to do it if I was playing it like the flute would play it, to me, lifting that first finger is easier than lifting everything off, including the thumb. If I play it the way that the recorder should play it, normally would play it, you play that low D, and then when you're hitting that high D, which is an octave, you put your finger down first for balance, and you lift all of your fingers up, except for your middle finger, which is on the second note down. Now, doesn't that seem a little complex? Why not, if your instrument can do it? I take the low D and I just leave the thumb hole on, covered, leave the thumb hole covered, and lift this first finger. Isn't that a lot easier? First of all, there is a chance that you might drop the instrument with that high D unless you're secure about it, but that's one thing I would do. And then I think I have 2 or 3 times when I do that. When I do the D All right, E, D, C, D. There's a lot of those in this piece. So E, why not do it the way that the flute would do it? It's just simpler. To use alternate fingerings, you can use alternate fingerings. I do quite a bit when I play, and I've played with recorder groups, and they said, you can't play that note that way. Oh yeah, you know, yes I can, I just did. As long as the instrument can do it, and it keeps the instrument in pitch. If the instrument can't do it because it's out of pitch, then obviously you can't do it. But I would use my E, and then the D, easier than, it's just an easier way to do it. I do it the easiest way I can as long as the instrument is in pitch. Okay, and then basically it's a matter of timing. If you're not used to 16th notes, and I haven't done much with 16th notes here, but there's your timing. 1, 2, and 3, and 4. 1, 2, and 3, 4. 1, 2, and 3, and 4. Now, this F and F sharp, let's take a look at that F and F sharp. The F, because this is a Baroque instrument, that F would be played with this finger down. Now, if I use a German fingered instrument, it's just a tiny bit sharp. It's not bad, but it just needs a little bit deeper tone, so I add that. When you go to the F sharp, you normally would go, I'm playing the F sharp. Well, wouldn't it be easier just to use this finger Let me go from B to D using the F sharp the way that I do it. When I get to the G, I press this finger down. This gives me the F sharp. But the way that you normally would do it, I think it's just easier to use it this way. This is the way the saxophone does it, you know. So you just have to judge. You need to know what the regular fingerings are. You need to be able to use the regular fingerings, but then you may need to, if you want to, use an alternate fingering, which I do a lot, especially for the D. There's not much difference in the pitch, if any at all. Some instruments, the expensive ones, and this is a really nice one, there's hardly any difference in the pitch. And since I'm used to playing flutes and used to playing saxophones and clarinets and all of that, I sometimes adapt some of those fingerings to the recorder fingerings. Easy peasy, you know what I mean? I used to tell one of my pastors, well, you know, it's so easy to play a wood when you put it in your mouth and it plays. He says, yeah, for you it does. So I try to simplify the fingerings. This is the way it should be done, from D to D as an octave, from lower to upper, the way that any kind of a recorder instruction book will have you do it. But I do it with the alternates, and I think it's just easier. So what I'm teaching you, I'm always going to teach you the right way, and then if there's an alternate fingering that I think is easier to handle, why not use it as long as the instrument is in pitch? Well, our time is almost up, and then next time I'm going to go over a little about timing, but I'm going to go over the dotted eighth and 16th and triplets. and we'll play some music that has both of them in it. So that's what we'll do next time. I'll close it here. Please join me then.